is Caitlin here, aka Scribble Sketch, and we are back here for Card Game Wednesday, the day of the week where we enjoy all things card game related. And today, we have a little bit of a product discussion, or kind of speculation, thoughts, opinions, whatever you really want to call it. It's just like a general kind of hypothesis or theory, or just even a just general talk about it, because I think it'll be something interesting to consider going into the new Valhalla cluster and whatnot. Now, they did confirm, obviously, that there are not going to be any new rulers going in with the sets. We are basically relying entirely on the starter deck rulers that we get at the start of the cluster, and that's pretty much it. We are not going to be getting any new rulers throughout the set, which is why, specifically, we end up with 10 starter deck rulers, I guess, to give us a bit more variety. But it got me thinking a little bit, because obviously, what is it that is trying to kind of encourage you to buy a box as opposed to just pulling random packs? Well, initially, the appeal of getting a box was obviously the higher chance of pulling a ruler, but now we don't have the chance here of getting rulers within the boxes. What's the secondary thing that would encourage you to get a box? Well, it would probably be the chase rare, which is like the one in a box rare that you get. Last cluster, it was a bit all over the place, in all honesty. It started out great with kind of the special Resonator cards from the April Fools. We got the special Dating Some Boy artwork and whatnot, but then as the cluster went on, for Raya cluster, you got basically reprints of older rulers. We got them in Uber, we got them in alternate art, and basically, people were getting so fed up and annoyed that your chance of pulling a new ruler as opposed to one that you already had was pretty slim compared to your previous chances. But now that we are no longer being confirmed to have a ruler in our sets, because obviously we've all got the starter decks at the beginning, it makes me think, what is the chase card going to be then? Now, from what they were implying, it makes me think that they are not going to make the chase cards rulers themselves. I know people were talking about how would you ever get Ubers of these rulers then if they are never going to be in the box. I'm thinking that maybe they will keep Ubers maybe as prize support for potentially for tournaments, for Grand Prix and whatnot. I know that usually you get like a acrylic, you get bronze, silver, gold and whatnot of some rulers. And maybe Ubers will just end up being prizes for participants of GPs. That could be a thing that they could do. Otherwise, for being the chase card, I would have to think it would need to be some kind of really good card. And like for it to have maximum use, I would think it would have to be a very good card from New Valhalla cluster itself. It wouldn't make sense for the card to be from Rhea cluster, considering that going forward, we are heavily pushing for the New Valhalla cluster mechanics, so for runes and whatnot. I do think, though, that one of the key ideas, or rather an idea that I had since they introduced Master Runes, is potentially your chase card could be a Master Rune with alternate art. Again, this might be something that people might not like, but it could also, in fact, be like a Master Rune with a different ability for a specific ruler. Obviously, the Master Runes themselves, from what we've seen so far, they seem pretty interesting, and obviously they only work for one specific ruler. But if we had alternate Master Runes, that way you would get at least maybe 2 per ruler, depending on how many they want to print in each set. So maybe for like this first set, New Dawn Rises, they have 5 Master Runes that could be the chase, and you would divvy up between the different colours. Maybe next set would be the other 5, and then going onwards you could either pick something like, I don't know, an entirely new rune that is only available through chase, which would make it highly viable. Well, maybe only viable if it's actually a good rune. We've still yet to see how what's the word I'm looking for? How detrimental runes are going to be with play. There's obviously several cards that interact with runes, and that is why it's encouraging you to play these new rulers in the new set. But if they made some of the chase cards runes themselves that you couldn't get in the base set or in the starter deck, I think it would probably push their value a bit, especially if they are a lot better than some of the runes that we obviously already have. In terms of other things, I can't really think of many things that would be very good for other chasers. Obviously, I quite liked the band girls for Force of Will for the Resonators. They were pretty cool. They were pretty cool because it was like, oh, here's a little nod to April Fools, and you know, the Dating Some Boys and that. I quite liked that. I like seeing the alternate artwork and everything because it's kind of similar to some of those themed promos that we had, where we had the themed Halloween ones, the Christmas ones, the back to school themed ones. I like those kind of promos and whatnot where you're putting them in a different setting. Maybe potentially they could do that with some Resonators from the set. So for instance, it would be pretty cool if maybe some of the chase rares were Resonators that were from specific points. So obviously we've seen Ayu so far. It would be pretty cool, I think, if Ayu ended up being a chase rare with like some special alternate art, maybe like some kind of theme with like New Year or like Chinese New Year or something like that. or like you would theme them around different holidays. That would be pretty cool. I'm not quite sure whether that would be alright for the start of the cluster, because obviously it releases in September, which the closest holiday to then would probably be Halloween, but that's like at the end of October by that point, so it might not work in that regard, but I still think it's a pretty neat idea to maybe include that. In terms of other ideas for chase, I mean, obviously it would be good maybe if like you had some beefed up versions of some of the additions, because we've seen that pretty much every ruler seems to be getting an addition that is specifically tailored to them and their resonator type. So obviously we've seen angels have one. There's a general blanket one for fire resonators. There's one for machines. There's one for darkness that also detracts from non-darkness ones. So potentially it could be maybe upgraded versions of those, or maybe it could be like better artwork for them, or like really super duper shiny artwork and everything, or promo artwork. I think that would be interesting. I definitely don't see them putting reprints of the starter deck rulers as the chase. I feel like they've learned their mistake from that, and they won't do it again. Because then it would just detract the value a little bit from the original printed starter decks. Even though like they're not going to be like super like hollow. I don't think they've said that they're going to be hollow. They're probably just going to be full art with no kind of foiling on them whatsoever. It would be cool if we got some kind of epic kind of foiling in the future, but I feel like maybe Ubers and whatnot, they'll be kept as maybe prize support for different events and things like that. So I don't think we're going to see Uber rulers as our chase cards. But I want to know what you guys think. What would you like to see as the chase card? Because some people have different values as to what they would prefer for the chase. Like personally, I liked the ones that was like the band girls and the dating some guys and whatnot. I liked that kind of chase. I wasn't too keen on the alternate artwork ones for the rest of Rhea cluster, because it felt like, well, my chances of getting a new ruler have drastically decreased, and as you saw in my previous box openings, I pretty much ended up not getting very many new rulers, because I ended up getting reprint of Rhea in her different artwork, and I ended up getting another Tigris. I ended up getting like an Uber Carrick. Like my chances of pulling new rulers drastically decreased, and I don't think I actually pulled any new rulers from that point on. I just ended up getting reprints, except for that box opening we did where we got Feasting in our box that we split and whatnot, so we managed to get her there. That was the only kind of newish ruler I feel like that we got for a long time or whatever since I started opening boxes for Rhea Cluster. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments down below, what kind of chase rares do you like them? Do you like reprints with different artwork? Do you like specifically tailored cards for chase that are maybe potentially really powerful or really good? Or would you like to see them put Ubers of the starter deck rulers? Personally, I think Ubers are hit and miss for some people. Some people really like them, some people really don't, and I guess some people would be really annoyed after they said that there's no rulers in the boxes, but then they make the chase rare Ubers and whatnot. It seems like it kind of detracts the value of an Uber, especially last time when you just got one for your you got one for your chase rare in a box, and it kind of detracted the value of Ubers for the starter deck rulers of Rhea Cluster. So let me know, guys, what you think down below. I've given my speculation as to what I think it could be, what it could potentially should be. I'm all for the chase rares being maybe some really, really powerful runes that would make it really viable for you to try and hunt them down and chase them down, hence why they're chase rares and whatnot. Let me know down below what you think of these ideas. Maybe even provide some of your own if you're interested, if you have some ideas as to what you would love to see for the chase rare in the boxes. And even if you have any speculation about the set itself, let me know, guys. I am always happy to talk about and speculate these things with you on this topic in particular, because I'm quite interested to see how Valhalla will go. It'll definitely be a different turning point for the game, and I like to see what it will do for the game in the future, as opposed to what we are currently in New Frontiers as it is. Once we say goodbye to Lapis Cluster, we no longer have like jewel stones, we no longer have like all these different powerful cards and everything. I think it'll be a really interesting turning point, and I would love to see what it does for the game. But until next time, guys, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification button so that you are always notified when I'm uploading videos to the channel, and I will see all you guys later. This video was made possible thanks to patrons such as Alucard, Craig McCutcheon, and the Carnivalous Waltz.